Hi guys, this is a video to show you how to take my Vault 88 transfer settlements blueprint and rewire it, fix any broken things that you might find after you've imported it. So this is a freshly imported vault. As you can see, none of the lights are working. So the first thing you want to do is head up these stairs, head all the way up to level 4. To science, and you're going to take the reactor. Here is where most of the electricity is going to come from that powers the vault, and what you're trying to do is these pieces of the vault here will transmit power when they're snapped together. They were snapped together when the vault was built, but because they've been transferred in, the snapping's not carried across in the transfer, so it doesn't know that they're snapped together. What you need to do to tell the pieces that they're snapped together is to start picking them up with E, pressing tab to drop them back into place, and you're trying to create a path between these vault power conduit pieces. While you're here, wire the reactor up to this conduit here, into this vault power conduit, and then start picking pieces up again. That's the light. You need to pick the actual piece up, the wall piece, and create a path of pieces to get the electricity to flow through them. They will flow through any pieces that are walls, they'll flow through any pieces with floors attached to walls, and they'll flow through stairs and pieces with ceilings attached, but these hanging floors here don't actually transmit the electricity. So instead you need to pick up the wall pieces. These pieces will transmit up to the walls above and below them. So if you pop this out so you can pop downstairs easily. There you go, you're on the floor below now. And then you can create a path right down to the bottom of the atrium here. What I like to do is just create a path down and then go all the way around the atrium and wire the atrium up first. Most of your rooms are built around this central atrium, so it's just a matter of seeing where the conduits are in place. So we've already done this piece here, so if we pick the wall up here, that'll work. There's conduit up here, so we've done these pieces down here with the walls attached. So if we pick up this wall, and then I've got a jetpack in place to make this easier. And just pick these walls up, you'll start getting electricity flowing through properly. And again down here, pick these pieces up. Pick the pieces up above them, and it's really just a matter of finding where all the conduits have been placed to get the electricity flowing through and getting them all hooked up. Trying not to let your settlers get in the way. So this piece has got power now. Connect this back up. You'll find that there are pieces hidden away in back rooms here, so this light isn't on at the minute. Pick the pieces up. You'll notice it's still not on, and that's because some of these pieces are literally just floor pieces. If you pick them up, the walls are attached separately. So if you find that, what you need to do is pick the floor up and then pick the wall up that it's attached to, and you'll see the lights come on. I've got conduits hidden away in cupboards quite a lot, so you'll need to open up small rooms and just have a look around. I'm not going to do the whole atrium and all of the rooms. I'm just going to basically show you that that's how you get it to work. So there are conduits in here that need snapping into place. The cafeteria is a little bit strange because again it's got these ceiling pieces, but neither the floor nor the walls are attached to some of them. So if that happens, you need to pick the floors up, you need to pick the walls up, and then snap them into place. And now this conduit will have power. It helps to pick the ceilings up instead of the floors in the cafeteria because the floors aren't really attached. So if you go down the ceilings and then pick this wall up. So it's just a matter of trying to create paths through everywhere. There are more difficult pieces to wire up that live outside of these vault pieces though, so I'll show you how to do these next. So if you head back through to the science room, you'll see that we wired up this pass through the wall conduit here. You're going to need to toggle your clipping off so you can fly through some walls and head outside the vault. And you can see here, this is how I've wired up sections to areas that are in the caves that don't necessarily have vault pieces that I can pass the power through. So these conduits are similar to the vault pieces. This one here is wired up, this one has power, but these two pieces haven't been snapped to that piece yet, so the power won't be flowing through them until you pick them up and snap them back into place. But because you are in no clip mode, when you pick something up and put it back down in no clip mode, you can't pick it up again. The game turns its collision off, so you have to come out of no clip mode before you can start wiring things up. So you'll notice I've used coloured lights to show you where to pass wires to. So what you're looking for is the next coloured light. You're going to work your way along. You'll know it's working because as you work down the line you'll see more of these lights start to light up. And there is a conduit underneath here that needs to be wired up, but you can't get the wire to pass through the floor. So what you need to do is wire this final one up, turn your collision off again, pick this piece up and point straight down and head through the floor. And you will see, if you look around, you will find a green light here next to another conduit, and snap it into place down here. If you try and wire these two up, it just will not work. They won't pass through the floor. As far as it's concerned, this floor piece is in the way and you can't pick that floor piece up to turn its collision off. So you need to pick your conduit up and take it through the wall. Again, you've got the problem that you can't select it anymore. So you need to turn collision off, and then if you very quickly turn your turn your command on and off again, you'll start to fall. Turn collision back off so you don't fall anymore, and then carry on wiring up. I'd also recommend that you turn these green lights off, that you delete these green lights. They'll cast a nasty green glow around your vault that you don't really want. When everything's wired up, I go back and remove them so that they're not actually lighting anything up. They're just there to show you the way, basically, so that you're not so that you can see where you're going next. So this conduit junction's got power. These do not, because they've not snapped into place, so you need to start moving these out the way. And heading back to your first one. You do this because you want this conduit this first conduit piece to snap to this conduit junction. You don't want it snapping to the pieces above it. So then you pick it up, drop it, snap it back into place, and you need to come out of collision and back into collision so you can pick this piece up again. It can be a bit difficult to grab. Just, there we go. It gets a bit tricky to find where everything is sometimes. Just keep moving around, you'll spot them eventually. And then back up here. There's the junction. And turn your collision back on. If you just slide it over here, it should snap into place. And now these should all be wired up nicely. So that's that done. As you can see, the lights are lighting this area up in a not very pleasant way. It's not intended to look like that. You want to go in and fix them. You also need to put the water back in for build your own pools. I can't get that to transfer over, but it's not difficult to do, just go around. It should all snap into place quite nicely without any trouble. Do that over the whole pool and you've got your pool back working. So we're going back up to the same place. I'm actually just going to head straight up. So here we are again. This line here, this red line, this is parts of your vault up that the vault conduits in the main atrium can't reach. So again, you'll need to turn your collision off so you can navigate through this area. There's just a line of them. It takes you to the top of the vault. It lights these ceiling lights up at the very top of the vault, and it lights this central area up. Because these vault conduits, they don't transmit power very far. I think it's a range of about 3 squares. Whereas I've got a mod, and I suggest you have a mod as well, that increases the radius of these vanilla conduits to make them a lot bigger. Otherwise you're really going to struggle to light the larger areas of this vault up. So there's another line here. This is the line that takes you down to the bar. Just keep grabbing the conduits. And follow the line I've got laid out. Again, these are casting horrible, sickly green lights into the classroom area, the jail area, and the corridor down to the bar. So you want to come back afterwards and remove all these temporary lights once you know everything's lit up and working properly. Along these poles you can see that there's definitely electricity flowing because it's lighting up the lights further away. All the way along here. Now you've reached the back of the bar. So this one's got power. As with the other conduit junctions, this needs picking up, dropping to snap into place. And you will notice that I've labelled up the conduits in the order that you want to wire them back up. However, you'll notice that when you try and connect the wires to each other, they will not snap into place, and that's because these light bulbs are all in the way. So you need to go around, pick the light bulb up, drop it in flying mode, and then because the collision on that light bulb doesn't exist anymore, you'll be able to wire them up to each other. So this one's in the way, pick it up, wire it up. This one will be in the way. Don't think there's one between 4 and 5. So they follow this zigzag pattern across the ceiling, just to make it look like the light bulbs that are lighting up this area are hanging off something. There's number 7. And there are 2 light bulbs here. And again, after you've wired this up, I'd go around, remove the numbers, they're ugly, they get in the way. And the final piece of wiring you need to do is to get these light bulbs back here to work. What you need to do is fly into this stone pillar in the middle of what will be the pool. You'll see there's a sort of square around the edge of it, so you know you're in the middle of it. And then just fly straight up, look straight up, and keep going until you see this windmill generator pop into place, and above the pillar off to the left hand side of the generator you'll see another conduit. If you just wire them up together, then that is all the lighting sorted. And then you need, again in this area, to put the pool markers in. But you need to come out of no clip mode to do it, because otherwise they don't exist. If you place something in when your collision's off, it won't have collision, so you need to go back in, turn your collision on, and then you can snap the pieces to each other. It's really simple. Go right in, snap pieces right into that pillar, all the way up to the bar. Don't leave pieces on the edges like this, or they'll look like this in the game. And just fill the whole area in with water. You'll notice the water's actually a little bit lower down than the paths next to it. So even though it looks like they're colliding with each other and badly in build mode, they actually overlap really nicely because the water's lower down than you expect it to be. The rainbow's a pain. I'm not sure how to do this properly. I need to investigate it for the next build, but basically it's a matter of going through and cycling the colours. I want to try and make a better version of this, because this takes forever to get working again. Hopefully I can find a way around it so it transfers in nicely. That'll be for the next version. These, I'm not sure why these won't work. Again, it needs looking into, something for another version. But a couple of other things that you can fix for now. If you head back towards your vault, you'll notice that the elevator doesn't transfer in properly. A lot of the buttons don't work. So there should be a switch here that shows you what floor you're currently on, and there should be buttons in here that show you what floor corresponds to each button. So if you head to elevators, you want the 5-storey stops at all floors elevator. You have to keep picking it up until you get to the piece with the floor in at the bottom, and then snap it into place. If you're struggling to snap it into place, you've probably got this surface snap-on thing going on. That can make it quite difficult. It's F2 on my keyboard to turn it off, and that allows you to place things. Things don't automatically start snapping to floors, then you can place things through floors properly, like so. So you can pick things up and position them a lot easier. So that's that fixed. And there are a couple of things that are tricky to wire up. So this conduit doesn't have power, and that's because it is snapped to the wrong place on this wall. So you need to pick it up and snap it into the centre of this wall. If you pick a place where you can easily select these two things, and in place everywhere, if you just use, it's number pad 7 on my keyboard, but if you just bring these two things out by about 20 pixels each, then you can wire these up. This needs to come out a bit further. There we go, so that's working. Just grab it. It's F7 on my keyboard to lock an object, then you can shift it into a better place. Don't pick it up and drop it. Press 5 on your keyboard to stop it from wobbling around strangely, and then unlock it and move these pieces back into position. And then what you want to do is pick the soda fountain up and drop that into place. If you pick this up and try and drop it back into place, it'll stop getting power again, so the soda fountain won't work. But if you pick the soda fountain up and drop that, it'll automatically rewire itself to the new position for this, and it'll continue to work. And there's another thing like that to do up in the overseer's office. So if you head up to level 3, you need to start dragging power up towards the overseer's office. So that one's working. Just pick pieces up, drop them into place. This piece and this corner piece, and then behind here you'll see another conduit. You'll know it's in the right place if your room lights up. And again, what you need to do is just move this into a better position. You don't have to, you can leave it there, but it looks ugly, so what I tend to do is exactly the same thing. Press F7 to lock the object into place, and then just start moving it over with your number pad keys. I've changed my axis by accident, so I need to press what do I need to press? There we go. Press Control. If you press 0, it'll reset it. Just use place everywhere. To get it into a nicer position. If you don't know how to use place everywhere, I'm sure there are better tutorials out there for how to use it. It's how I made the vault, basically. I can't use the creation kit, it crashes my computer, so I had to do everything with place everywhere in this mode. And again, it's wired up to the computer. Don't pick this up and snap this into place to try and get the wiring to snap back. It'll stop power flowing through it. Instead, you pick up what it's attached to, in this case the computer, drop that into place, and that works now. You put your filing cabinet back, and that just looks much nicer. And there are a few other things to fix. So you'll notice in the cafeteria that these trays haven't worked properly. These trays I had to put into place with the OC decorator. Dispenser. And because they weren't placed through the mod proper but using this dispenser, they don't transfer in properly. So anything that you have to use the dispenser to place, like these trays, these security helmets here, the armour, anything you can pick up, not these handcuffs, they were laced properly, but anything you can pick up and knock around will need to be put back in place with the dispenser. So these vault suits, these, I think that's everything. There's more battens and security helmets back here. I'll just show you what to do if you've not used it before. Put them into the dispenser one by one, and you'll find that it only looks like there's one thing. Pick them up, all 5 will be there, and you need to place these yourself. So I turn surface snap off so it's not snapping to anything, and just put them back in place. I'll probably change these. I didn't realise that these wouldn't transfer over properly, so these will probably be changed for plates in the next version. That, I think, is just about everything. It's the water, the elevator, anything put in place with the dispenser, and the wiring. If you find anything else that needs fixing, or you're really struggling, let me know and I will do another version of this. But I hope that helps, and enjoy the mod.